Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my Week 1 previews and predictions. This video is for the game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos. This will kick off the season here on Thursday night from Denver. And you have Baltimore sort of returning to the scene of the crime where they absolutely stunned the Broncos last year in the divisional round of the playoffs. For my money, that game was the best game of the entire NFL season. And you have the Ravens opening up on the road, not typical in this day and age of a Super Bowl winner, but they have a conflict with the Orioles in Major League Baseball. So they go on the road the first week of the year in prime time, first game of the year versus the Broncos. And both of these teams went through some changes, as is typical for an NFL team, especially one coming off a Super Bowl like the Ravens. You know, the Ravens lost leaders in Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. On the defensive side of the ball, they went through a little bit of an overhaul. They add Elvis Dumervil. They add Michael Huff in free agency. They add Darryl Smith in free agency. They add some guys in Marcus Spears and Chris Canty on the defensive line. They improved themselves defensively through the draft as well with Matt Elam and Arthur Brown. Also undergoing some changes on the offensive side of the ball, which I think is going to be a bigger deal for this team. Losing Anquan Boldin and losing Dennis Pitta for the season. You know, Joe Flacco's two biggest safety nets in that unprecedented playoff run that he had individually last year, where he was just absolutely lights out. I think what's going to be, worth watching for the Ravens here early in the season is how these parts that were added come into their roles and how they evolve in the process. I think that's going to, on defense, I don't think that's going to be a problem eventually. I think they'll work out a few kinks the first month or so, and I think their defense will be where it needs to be come mid-season at the latest. But on the offensive side of the ball, who steps up in place of Pitta and Anquan Boldin? Does Torrey Smith finally break out and have one of those, incredible seasons? Can Jacoby Jones, sort of build on the playoff he had last year where he really emerged? Well, that's more of a question mark for me. How consistent can Joe Flacco be now during the regular season? Can they get Ray Rice up to the normal production level that he's used to having? And I think that's all going to be reflected by who steps up in that receiving core and on the end with the tight ends as well for this team. And it'll be interesting to watch. I do think that overall talent is there for the Ravens. I do look at them as a playoff team this year. In this game specifically, though, can that offense keep up with the offense of the Broncos? Because while the Broncos have undergone some changes on the defensive side of the ball, which I'll get to in a second, their offense is pretty much intact. They've named Ronnie Hillman the starting running back, but expect to see Hillman, rookie Monty Ball, and of course Noshawn Moreno in that backfield. You complement them with their receivers, who probably are the best receiving core in the NFL, with Welker, Demaryius Thomas, and Eric Decker. And I look for their offense to hit the ground running at home, have the crowd behind them. I think that'll make their defense play a little bit better than they probably are right now. Remember, they lost Dumervil to the Ravens with that whole fax snafu issue. And they also are without Von Miller for the first 6 games of the year, which I think is a really big blow, especially since there's no more Dumervil. Are they able to get some pressure on the quarterback? Are they able to hold teams down while this offense, I think, is prolific all year here? Peyton Manning, I look for him to hit the ground running even more so than last year. If you remember, they got off to a little bit of a slow start last year, but really kicked it in once Manning got comfortable with his receivers. And you figure this preseason was more of a fine-tuning, let's get ready for the season kind of thing, rather than learning all about his players like he had to do last year. So I think that's going to be the main, where this game sort of really, is really won or lost, is what are the Ravens, how quick can that Ravens offense, get up to speed, and can they match this Broncos offense, which I think will be able to more than hold its own against this newer Ravens defense as they sort of round into shape. The latest spread I saw was the Broncos favored by 7.5. I think that's too big of a number, to be honest. I like the Broncos to win the game. but I like the Ravens to cover. And guys, what I do here is I'm not a tout. I'm not selling you picks. I'm just here analyzing the games, giving them a free pick at the end. And, if you ask me, I think this game is going to be closer than people think. I like the Broncos to win it, but I like the Ravens to cover there, the 7.5. So let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis as well. Let me know where you think I went wrong. If you think I was right, let me know. Trying to foster some conversation here. If you guys look, I've posted over 500 videos here on YouTube. Always down for a good discussion. Be sure to check out the rest of my previews. I preview all games every week here. So be sure to check out my channel. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for listening, and have a great night.